If we're talking about a theory of everything, the first question we have to establish, does God exist?
Yes.
Simple as
Yes.
that.
Science and religion are two fields that haven't always gotten along. Practicers of both tend to claim that you can't have both. They may even go as far as to say that one disproves the other and you can only believe in one. But there's another option. Science and religion can live in harmony and even support one another. Keep watching to learn why the men with the highest IQ in the world say God is real. Who is YoungHoon Kim, the smartest man in the world? YoungHoon Kim is a South Korean scientist. He's also the founder and CEO of NeuroStory. It's an organization backed by his country's government that focuses on finding AI-powered brain health solutions. He also founded the United Sigma Intelligence Agency and is on the board of the Lifeboard Foundation. It looks into how AI can be used and the potential dangers it could create. That doesn't mean science is his entire life. He's always had an interest in religion. YoungHoon Kim received a bachelor's degree in Christian theology from Yonsei University in Seoul. He calls it one of the best decisions of his life because he views theology as the ultimate discipline that sits behind all other fields of study. How smart is he? He claims to have an IQ of 276, the highest ever recorded, and there's evidence for his claims. They were validated in 2024 and are backed up by organizations such as the Giga Society, Mensa, World Memory Championship, Guinness World Record, and Official World Record. When did he reveal his belief in God? YoungHoon Kim is a busy man. He could have spent all his time on his scientific research and still led an impressive life. He chose to do something even more impressive in the scientific community, put his religious views out there for everyone to see. He sent out a viral tweet on June 17th. He said, quote, "As the world's highest IQ record holder, I believe that Jesus Christ is God, the way and the truth and the life." The tweet received 14 million views and 250,000 likes in only 2 days. YoungHoon Kim hopes to use the large response to the tweet to lead more souls to God. That's why he continues to use his platform to affirm his beliefs. He said in another tweet that, quote, "God exists 100%. What's his proof? Most Christians believe that it's possible to view God in the natural world and notice that he's real. Take Romans 1:20. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. YoungHoon also believes it's possible to look into nature and affirm your belief in God, but he doesn't think that's the only way. He goes beyond looking into the beauty all around him and instead looks into the world of quantum physics. To him, science doesn't disprove God, but proves him instead. He says,
I think our consciousness continues beyond death, definitely. Our consciousness is not just brain activity, but it is something deeper.
He points out the general views of consciousness as mental information. If it is, that means, based on the principles of quantum physics, it can never go away permanently. This supports the idea of an afterlife. As he
Science says that when the brain stops, then our consciousness disappears. You believe this now, but quantum physics says that information never disappears. Never. It only changes in forms. If our consciousness is quantum information, it may continue after the body is gone.
He also believes in the potential of the idea that the world each individual experiences is a simulation meant for them. That doesn't mean we're all robots or stuck in a sophisticated form of virtual reality. It means everything we experience is given to us by God, a being outside the simulation. YoungHoon Kim says,
Some scientists and philosophers believe that our world may be a simulation created by a higher dimension of being, which I believe. If this is true, then the death is not the end, but a shift to another reality.
YoungHoon Kim's views may have come as a surprise to some, but he's not alone. There are others who support him, and they have equally impressive IQ scores. Who is Chris Langan, the smartest man in America? Chris Langan lives outside Mercer, Missouri. He was always interested in learning as much as he could, but couldn't always get the knowledge he sought when he wanted it. He filled in the holes on his own and says, quote, "I'm pretty much an autodidact. I teach myself everything by necessity." He doesn't have a college degree, even though he tried to get one twice. He wanted to major in math and philosophy, but he couldn't pay for it. He had to drop out. Even though he was one of the smartest men in the world, he couldn't find the kind of job he wanted without a degree. He worked as a bouncer at nightclubs in New York City for 25 years, only making $100 a night. He admits, quote, "If you don't have a college degree, it's not like you're going to be anything that pays well." He remained humble and never took special pains to show off his intellect. He never told anyone he met about his IQ score unless they asked. Eventually, Chris found ways to show off his intellect in ways that felt important. He appeared on episodes of ABC's 2020 Downtown and NBC's 1 vs. 100. He even ended up in print in an issue of Esquire magazine and the best-selling book Outliers. Chris and his wife moved on from there to do even more good with his high IQ. They eventually founded the Mega Foundation. It's a nonprofit that helps highly intelligent individuals share ideas outside of academic settings. He said his goal was to make it, quote, "a kind of intelligence society, not an ordinary IQ society, but one with more variety in its ways of identifying intelligence." What's Chris's theory to prove God exists? Chris uses his knowledge of scientific principles to attempt to provide evidence for his belief in God. However, it doesn't stop there. He's used it to find a way to map out and understand the entire universe. He's created a complex, overarching theory called the Cognitive Theoretic Model of the Universe, abbreviated CMTU. It attempts to find a real way to define reality using principles of disciplines such as math and philosophy. Working to develop the theory has led him to only one conclusion. Everything about the way he's managed to define the universe leads to the idea that God must be part of it. He made that very clear in an interview. He described his theory of reality that made its scientific and biblical basis apparent.
Reality has an identity. The identity is that as which something exists. Matter of fact, when you say the word reality, you're naming an identity. You're identifying something.
I'm smiling because your answer on this is so beautiful. It just reminds me of Moses at the burning bush. And Moses at the burning bush says, "Who shall I tell the people that you are?" Talking to God. And God says, "Tell them I am that I am."
That's right.
I am identity itself. I'm being himself.
That's exactly right.
He says that's the entire purpose of the theory. It uses the principles within it to explain the human experience. It also shows how everything within it leads to the idea that God must be a part of it. As Chris says,
CMU says, it just comes up with the mathematical structure that you need to build a reality out of that. You see? So you come up with that identity and then you search it for its properties. You see, once you've built the preliminary framework, then you start deducing the properties of this identity, and you find out that those properties match those of God as described in most of the world's major religions.
Chris believes thoroughly in this theory. To him, it's the best results he could reach on a personal, scientific, and theological level. No one has tried to debunk it yet, but he believes they wouldn't get very far if they did. He says, quote, "The very best minds from the very best universities wouldn't be able to put a dent in me or my theory." What these theories mean for the world today. YoungHoon Kim and Chris have more in common than their belief in God. Their belief stems from evidence, much of which they agree on, such as the simulation theory. They also want to use their intelligence and time on Earth to prove to as many people as possible that God does in fact exist. They haven't gone as far as to show up the face of God to the world. They haven't brought Jesus out for us to see. They've used their exceptional intelligence to find the best ways they can to show why and how they believe God is real. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you ever have to prove to friends or family why you believe in something? Let us know in the comments section below.